Well, this is it everybody. The final showdown awaits us to able to beat the likes of the forms of Grape, so now we can able to take her on once and for all. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only, Tiana here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Princess Peach Showtime for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we've essentially did manage to able to continue experiencing Floor 5 by able to actually going into a parade on ice in addition to a blight of the sea. So, as a result, despite the fact that we accidentally missed one of those sparkle gems in Journey Forms have been a parade on ice, but don't worry, we'll be back for that eventually though. And in addition to that though, is about the fact that we also did manage to take care of the other two acts in Journey Forms have been specifically in a basement floor, ranging from the Dark Ice and the Shadowy Stage, and on top of that, the Dark Depths and the Swirling Currents. So, overall, we actually did those particular acts no problem, and relatively speaking, I was about the fact that seems to be more specifically, that we've basically almost completed everything for the sake of not only for Floor 5, but it's also with the forms of the basement floor as well. But then again, no, we'll be back for that particular, Cowgirl Peach third act entering at some point if we somehow get into the forms of some post-game content eventually. So, anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, for this video is about the fact that we're about to begin the final boss in Princess Peach Showtime for the Nintendo Switch, and as a result, we can now able to take on Grape. So, in order to get able to actually access this huge door right here, as I mentioned this before, not only do we have to rescue all of those sparklers first, which naturally we've already done it, but it's also worth noting for we need to collect a certain amount of sparkle gems, just like the forms of how it does it on the first boss, and the second boss, the third boss, and the fourth boss. So this is more accurately the fifth boss, or should I say the final boss in the game right now. And in order to actually just to go in there, we need to get about, let's just say 30 sparkle gems this time around. And I believe this is going to be the final time we're going to be using those sparkle gems for able to actually try to actually access the boss door. But as you can tell, the door won't budge, because obviously though, it's not strong enough to able to actually take on Grape herself. So because of that though, I wonder how we can get in exactly. Alright, some sparklers right there will decide to help us out. So, yeah, naturally not only do we get Sword Fighter, but as well as Patisserie, Ninja, and Dashing Thief, and as well as the forms of Figure Skater, Cowgirl, and Mermaid, Mighty, and in addition to Kung Fu, and finally Detective Sparklers, to able to gather around, and we can use the actual Sparklers' power to able to become, let's just say, the final transformation in the whole game. So no matter what though, is about the fact that, yeah, the reason why I say the final transformation, mainly because of this particular sequence right here. So because of that though, and mind you about the fact that it's been about 5 days ago since I actually have last played this game for sure, but let's see what the final transformation is gonna hold us to. Oh, looks like we've stumbled across into Radiant Peach. So, it does kind of reminds me of the forms of a combination of not only Elsa from Frozen, but also with the forms of Rosalina or something. Well, mind you about the fact that the actual dress itself looks a bit kind of similar, but whatever. So now we can able to actually get the door open for reals. So naturally speaking, I was about the fact that since we've become the ultimate power of Peach, by, simply became Radiant Peach. So, I will say though, whenever I first saw this transformation on screen, whenever I first time I played the game, my goodness, that transformation is a sight to behold. So, either way though, enough about that particular distractions, because it's now time to take on Grape, the final boss in the game. So, yeah, I'm a little bit excited about this, so, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you might be right, Grape, because it's now showtime. So because of that though, here we go on to Grape, the final boss in the game. Now as far as controlling Radiant Peach as far as I'm concerned, I believe in order able to move her around is by simply using the control stick of all things, or the analog stick I should say. But it's also worth noting for is that if you keep on mashing the B button, or the A button, depending on what specific button configuration you can able to change with, is that in order able to attack Grape right here, is that you need to keep on shooting projectiles right back at her. But here's the thing though, is about the fact that every once in a while though, is that she obviously summons the dancers to side able to block Grape. So obviously though, is about the fact is think of like a button mashing kind of sequence right there. Not only do you have to do this one time, but also 3 times, because here we go on to the second phase of the fight, where basically though, it's pretty much exactly the same, except the fact that every once in a while though, that Grape will summon some more attacks, ranging from, well, not only for that particular flames, as we've already saw since the beginning of the fight, and also not to mention though, is about the fact that she will summon not only certain present boxes from time to time, but also with the forms of trains. So because of that though, yeah, there's one train coming up, so we definitely need to dodge that. So relatively speaking though, is about the fact that this boss, I will admit though, is actually pretty easy though. Although, despite the fact that until later on that is, which as a result that, then again, we'll explain more about that, if we somehow manage able to deal with this final boss in the game. So either way, and of course we do need to dodge the forms of those present boxes coming from the skies above. So relatively speaking though, Ramps and Repeat is able to actually try to deal with Grape. It's not that, you know, challenging or whatsoever. So, you know, you get the idea of what I was expecting well too. So either way, kind of thing about it though is about the fact that the entire boss battle type like this, it does kind of reminds me like a similar vibes as the forms of Kid Icarus Uprising a little bit, except the fact that obviously though is about the fact that there's no lock-on cursor, so you obviously always targeting Grape right there. So obviously that was about the fact that I just get the strong sense of feeling I might get hit a lot during the third and the final phase of a fight, because obviously that was about the fact that sometimes though you have to dodge quite a number of things basically though. So because of that though, when you get the hang of it though, again it's not too noticeable when it comes to the forms of you know what I'm talking about when it comes to dealing with the specific stuff like this. I mean, then again though, it's been about 5 days ago since I actually have last played this game for sure, like I said before, and it's especially noticeable about the fact that recently, Sonic, he's now recently finished up with Sonic's story in Journey forms of in Sonic Rush, and because of that though, until tomorrow, and that could be also applies for the later days to come, that he's now going to be moving on to the second half of the game in Sonic Rush, which as a result you'll play as Blaze the Cat, so yeah, you get the idea about that. So either way, and I'm almost dying right now, but luckily we somehow managed to deal with her off. So, but of course we do need to deal with the forms of the quick time events as we expected, so because of that though, let's just launch not only 1, not 2, but 3 specific projectiles right at Grape, and there she goes. So yeah, if you think the entire game is going to be over, right? Well, you're soon to find out. So yes, just like the forms of how it does it on some Mario games, specifically Super Mario Galaxy 2, as well as the forms of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. 2, New Super Mario Bros. U, and all that stuff. Yeah, the final boss is not done yet, because we now ended up on the true final battle. Well then, that was very unexpected, because here we have ourselves the true final battle against with the forms of Grape's final form, and kind of think about it, she does kind of reminds me of Andros from the likes of the Star Fox games, to be more specifically not only on the Super Nintendo game, but also with Star Fox 64, and even a bunch of Star Fox games in the past. So because of that though, then as you can tell, about the fact that we actually stumbled across into ourselves the true final form, or should I say, the true final transformation for Peach, and actually as it turns out, it's more accurately a super variant of the forms of Radiant Peach, or if I like to call it, Super Radiant Peach. So because of that though, yeah, as you can see, in order able to perform a little bit of a beam attack, is that basically we have to hold down a B button instead of button mashing it. So because of that though, it will start to warn off for a bit, but you can able to actually do a rhythm thing, where if you think you're basically done shooting up the beam, then basically though you have to press the B button again at the right time, so that way you can able to deal the amount of damage to the forms of Grape's mask. So because of that though, and you know what to expect about the fact that you have to obviously try to dodge her attacks, just like the forms of how it does it on the regular battle against with Grape from earlier with Guy, except now about the fact that it's way easier to able to dodge her attacks during the forms of this particular final battle right here, because obviously I can definitely tell of what's to come. So either way though, a few things I want to talk about is about the fact that, well, suffice to say, about the fact that today's date, of course, there is the, I would say is the 14th of May today, in some cases in 2024 today. I would have liked able to explain about the forms of what's happening recently, but let's just say it's probably best if we let Sonic will mention about that particular topic as soon as he goes back onto Sonic Rush, basically. So either way though, and yeah, obviously the final battle does kind of reminds me of like a similar vibes as in Star Fox 64 almost, but either way, there goes Grape for reals, and well, the day is saved, all thanks to Princess Peach herself, or specifically, Super Radiant Peach. But of course, if you think we're done, well, we still have to deal with the forms of some more quick time events, basically. Except now, we have to do button mashing for this particular part right here, so that way we can able to finish her off for good. So, yeah, relatively an easy boss right here. But I will say is about the fact that the regular battle against Grape is actually a little bit trickier than the forms of how it does on the super final battle, to me anyway. Well, that's just mainly because the attack patterns can be unpredictable at times. And oh boy, if we get to the post-game content though, that will be something else entirely. Which, believe me while I'm saying this, I'm honestly not looking forward to see what that specific next point of challenge will bring us to. But then again though, we'll point things out whenever we get to it. So with that being said, there goes Grape, and we'll watch the ending to Princess Peach Showtime for the Nintendo Switch. I will admit, it's pretty nice to see the CGI cutscenes again, ever since in the beginning portion of the game, because I will say though, the CGI cutscenes looks absolutely stunning, even especially on the Nintendo Switch for sure. So relatively speaking, yeah, the Sparkle Theater has been restored after being crumbled by pieces, all thanks to the forms of that particular grape. But since we've somehow defeated Grape after all, so this means everything else is saved. So because of that though, but of course, as we expected, like most any other Let's Plays during that time, the game itself is not over yet when it comes to the forms of if you really want to get out of your way to go for a true 100% completion die. But then again though, I'll talk more about that if we get on Thursday, because as far as I'm aware, that also if I've noticed something is about the fact that recently that both Mighty and Ray has recently managed to sort things out with that particular shelving display for that upcoming Nintendo system, for I've heard anyway. That's of course Nintendo Switch 2, or should I say Nintendo Switch successor. So because of that though, perfect opportunity right here, especially concerning for the fact that I'm pretty sure about the fact that you know, 2024 is often considered as to be maybe the final year for the Nintendo Switch for sure. Well, unless there's still technically one game left, but that's not going to be until 2025, and that's what appears to be Pokemon Legends Z through A, but that's besides the point. So, as you can see on this credit sequence right there, it actually shows us the forms of specific pictures that you're about to see during the forms of certain plays with each act. So, yeah, it does look pretty cool though for what I've seen this. So either way though, you can also technically able to actually see the actual pictures on your album, assuming if you do manage to collect all of those sparkle gems in each and every single level, that is. So but then again though, we'll see those in during the forms within the album during at some point as soon as we get into the forms of the post-game content. So because of that though, I was immediately surprised about the fact that Toad does not show up more often during the forms within Princess Peach Showtime for sure, because as far as I'm aware, the only time you only see the Toads was actually the beginning portion of the game. So relatively speaking, I was about the fact that that could be also applies for Peach's crown, because something tells me is about the fact that obviously though one of the Toads is still holding on to the forms of Peach's crown for sure. So either way though, now I would have liked able to actually just try to give you guys my final thoughts of this game, but obviously though I'm not gonna do that just yet. Plus it's mainly because, like I said before, the game itself is not over yet for sure, just because we've now entering into the post-game content when it comes to the forms of how this game actually has to offer. But I will briefly mention some of those stuff anyway. First of all, is about the fact that once you beat the game for the first time, basically though is about the fact that you can able to actually access to the second shop that you can able to actually find in the first floor. And also, I believe the fifth and the final rehearsal has now been accessible now on floor 5. So that way we can now able to actually decide to do the rest of the forms of those rehearsal challenges. And also not to mention though, they're going to be brings us into something likely a familiar mechanic ever since in journey forms have been hide and seek challenges from the likes of in Yoshi's Crafted World, for instance. Whenever you're trying to find sprouts or something, that basically though, if you're trying to find one of these sprouts in one of the levels, then obviously it does give you an option to either leave the level or continue the level if you manage to missing out on something. So that's always a nice feature, I guess. So, relatively speaking, though, is about the fact that, yeah, then again, we'll get to more details about that particular topic if we dive right into that particular hide-and-seek challenges. And of course, much like the forms of how it does it in both Warrior Land, the Shake Dimension, or Warrior Land Shake It for the North American version, and on top of that, with Yoshi's Crafted World, of course, boss challenges is gonna make a comeback. So because of that, though, oh, gosh darn it, good feel, why'd you have to do this again? Although, relatively speaking, I was about the fact I'm hoping that certain boss challenges won't give me that much of a struggle, because I can definitely tell about the fact that some toys out there did seem to able to have a lot of struggles with the forms of certain boss challenges on the first attempt for certain bosses, for sure. But then again, though, we'll get to more about that if we go back onto that particular game for Princess Peach Showtime, enjoying that at some point on Thursday, like I said before. So, relatively speaking, though, it's about the fact that, yeah, as you can see, that Toad has finally made its appearance, well, only for still images for sure. I kind of wish if that particular ending sequence would go a little bit more animated, but, of course, due to time constraints or something like that, I'm thinking so anyway, they obviously going to be able to put in, like, still images or something. Even though, then again, I do apologize for my commentary, it's a little bit slightly iffy at some points, but that's just mainly because, then again, there are some interesting stuff is going on at the moment. But then again, we'll let Sonic will mention about the majority of the stuff for now, for the likes of Sonic Rush, basically. So either way, and as you can tell, that the ribbon is now no longer with us for the sake of time, all thanks to the forms of Stella right here, and now we can able to actually wear this glorious crown, just like the forms of how it does it back in the old days. So because of that, though, ever since in, you know, 1985 for the sake of Super Mario Brothers. So because of that, though, yeah, believe it or not, though, it's about the fact that as far as what some toys else has already mentioned about this before, that basically until next year, the original Super Mario Bros. Game is going to be 40 until next year. So because of that, though, time flies, doesn't it? So either way, though, but then again, that particular topic can wait, enjoying at some point in specifically in 2025, and even the forms of the before other like days and stuff like that for the majority of 2024 for sure. So either way, though, yay, we somehow got the crown back after the events of the beginning portion of the game. So yeah, it's kind of strange to able to actually get the crown quite late compared to the forms of how it does it in well, it's hard for me to say, but either way, though. And yeah, as far as I'm usually concerned about the fact that so far I'm actually really enjoyed this game for sure. I mean, it might be on the easy side of things, though, at least for the majority of some aspects. But then again, though, I will promise you guys, as soon as we're able to actually try to collect some more remaining Sparkle Gems, then obviously, though, we can able to go back to the previous plays again, so that way we can able to not only try to able to actually get the remaining Sparkle Gems, but it's also about the fact that I think we are missing quite a few ribbons for sure, but that could be behind in Journey forms of not only one of those plays that we did somehow accidentally ignored, but also about the fact that with the majority of them are locked out behind certain rehearsals by trying to able to actually get like certain high scores or something. So because of that, though, yeah, I'm about to be able to be up for that, and still, wish me luck if I decided able to actually tackle through, not only for the sake of the forms of boss challenges, but it's also with the forms of rehearsal challenges here and there as well. So because of that, though, and here's the final shot, where basically not only the rest of the sparklers has been gathered around once again, but also with two Toads, apparently, because I was quite surprised that originally this game was supposed to have multicolored Toads, but relatively speaking, though, they only stuck with two regular colored Toads. So even then, though, that's actually quite something, I suppose. And of course, that Peach and Stella has recently got high five between each other. So that was actually a pretty nice little photo shot right there. And in fact, no matter what, though, it's still in my album for my Nintendo Switch itself. So either way, though, and also this particular shot right there does kind of reminds me like a similar vibes as in Klonoa Daughter Phantomile almost, or specifically Klonoa 2, Lunity's Fail or something. So Anyways, though, with that being said, folks, is that we get endings of this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Princess Peach Showtime, and that's what appears to be about the fact that we're about to get started with the post-game content, starting with the hide-and-seek challenges. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Later, fellas.